Thank you. Thank you again for joining Carl and J-Man us be these guys. Us be these guys. So today we're going to go ahead and take another road trip to this guy's kitchen again. So look out for that in a few minutes. But we're going to go ahead and talk about like what he's going to be making in a minute, basically, right?
Welcome to another episode of Cooking with J-Man. And so I think our last episode did pretty well, right, Carl?
Oh, yeah.
It was our best performing video.
Exactly.
And on the YouTube channel. You're welcome, Carl.
I know. I have to admit that, you did actually a good job and whatnot. So we're going to go ahead and make something really cool. It's something that most Hopis really don't have a taste for.
It's something that's going to cause a lot of you probably to revolt and turn on us. But I promise it'll be good.
Oh, yeah. So get ready for that. We're going to go ahead and switch over to the next guy. So J-Man is going to cook something for us pretty nice. So go ahead and explain what he's going to cook.
I'm going to actually make a local delicacy around here, and it's called Frybread.
Okay.
And so I mentioned that before, Frybread, but actually I'm going to cook one dish with the Frybread in a very unconventional way. And so I really hope that you all out there at home aren't going to turn on us as to see what I do with the Frybread. It's going to be a dish that I learned how to make up at Kai. And so it's going to be a roasted lobster tail with avocado mousse, tomato salsa on top of Frybread.
Oh man, that sounds really good right now.
So it's like the 5-5 version of what an Indian taco is, or whatever reservation's taco you come from. So,
all right.
But then after that, I'm going to gain your confidence back, and we're going to do something that's a little bit more traditional around here.
Alcohol.
Mutton.
Oh, okay, mutton.
It's been a while since I've made Frybread, so we're really just going to be hoping and wishing for the best, and so we'll see how this goes. I know that a lot of ladies out there don't measure, so first lesson is probably getting a measuring cup to where you actually can read the numbers. The secret ingredient to making Frybread is measuring. No, it's not. I'm just kidding. So this is probably about 2 cups of flour.
Okay, all right.
And I think for the most part, this is going to fall in standard with how most reservation people make Frybread, because we really don't measure.
Yeah.
But it's real simple. It's flour. And I imagine that this is Bluebird, because this is a native kitchen.
Pretty much, yeah.
And then probably about 1 teaspoon to 2 teaspoons of salt.
All right.
And for all you science nerds out there, baking powder.
You don't put in the yeast or anything?
No, this doesn't have any yeast. Although I did see a YouTube video where they were putting yeast into the Frybread mix, which I thought was very odd. And so about 1 teaspoon of that. And then that's pretty much it. Then you kind of just mix it up a little bit.
So
make sure that all the salt and the baking powder is incorporated into the flour.
So when does the wine come in with the Frybread?
No alcohol on Frybread, unfortunately.
You tell that to native women.
I'm just going to add just a tad bit more of the baking powder, because we want that to make sure that that gets a nice little poof. That's where the softness comes from.
I see.
So we got some warm water here. And then there's another ingredient that I've learned that a lot of native folks don't use, but I'm going to use it, and that's milk. And so I was digging around in our cupboard for dry milk, but I couldn't find that, so we're going to do a little bit of milk. Maybe about 1 cup of that.
I did not know that.
And then you kind of add and then you mix as you go.
Okay.
Because the most important thing with cooking is that you can always add, but you can't take away.
Oh yeah, yeah. Some bootleggers kind of have that motto too, like you add and you can't take away, kind of stuff like that. So.
And so I think that most native women, well, because native women are the ones that make the Frybread.
Yeah.
And so you hardly ever see native men making Frybread, although I know that some of them are around. And so there's some golden unicorns out there that have some sort of technique, and so I think that this has probably got enough of liquid in it. It's pretty sticky. And then you can always adjust it if it's too sticky, because then you can always add more flour to it, more numni.
Yeah.
And then so We're just gonna let this, actually I might add just a little bit more flour to it. Should be good.
Just to get it off your fingers?
Just to get it off my fingers.
Okay.
And then you don't want to knead this too much because then when you knead it too much, then it gets a little bit tough.
Yeah.
And so you really, what you want is you want like this real soft and fluffy dough.
Okay.
So that way
Alright.
when you get around to frying it, that the bread comes out soft and fluffy.
Yeah.
So that's actually done.
So J-Man just finished up with the Frybread mixture. So right now it's just resting. We're gonna let that rest, and he's gonna go ahead and prepare for another section of the meal here.
We're gonna marinate some tomatoes because tomatoes are a part of this dish. And so we're going to get these little guys, if I can get them out of the container.
Need help there, buddy? Let me see.
Yeah, why don't
Let me
you
see
make
this thing
yourself
here.
useful there, Carl.
You gotta read it.
While you do that, let me, I'm gonna mince up some shallots and some
Okay.
garlic. The importance of flavor, and so you definitely get a lot of flavor from garlic, you get a lot of flavor from shallots. And so we're just gonna use this as a marinade for the tomatoes. And so we're just gonna mince this up.
All right.
Then we're just gonna do some shallots.
The same way as well, too.
Yeah, we're just gonna do it the same way. And so I actually haven't cooked with shallots in a long time because you don't get, I don't think that they sell shallots at Bash's to my knowledge, but
No, I
they
don't
might,
think so.
and so we got our little mixture of garlic and shallots, and so what we're gonna do is I'm just gonna add some extra EVOO, some extra Evo, some extra virgin olive oil.
So what are you going to be making with this thing? Are you is it just going to be like a sauce, or what is
This is gonna be an accoutrement to the lobster, and so we're gonna soak the tomatoes in these, and the tomatoes are actually gonna be eaten whole.
Okay. All right. Cool.
We're just gonna cut these guys in half. And then they're just gonna sit in the marinade. We got those marinating, and then we're just gonna add a little bit more herbage to it. And so we got some fresh thyme here. We're just gonna let that sit in there. And so we got really lucky with the avocados,
Yeah.
that they're all really nice and fresh. And I think that, you know, because avocado is a summer vegetable. And so as farmers, you know when a lot of the different types of vegetables are in season. And so because avocados are a summer vegetable, that's the best time to get them in season. And so it's difficult during this time of year to get nice fresh avocados. And so we got lucky with that. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna make an avocado mousse. And so I think traditionally most mousses are made for like a dessert or something, and they're usually used with like whipped cream or whipped egg whites.
Yeah.
But so this one's gonna be a little bit more unconventional, and so we're actually just gonna do it with some cream cheese, and we're gonna do it with the avocado. And so
So what's the plural for mousse?
mousses.
Mises?
Mises, yeah. So, and so this mousse is going to be something similar to a guacamole, and so this is something that's going to serve as the bed. So I'm just prepping these ingredients together, and what we're actually going to do is that we're going to blend it in the RoboCoupe, or
Oh, okay. The thing there.
the thing here, yeah. And so we're just going to throw these avocados in there, and so like I said, it's just kind of be similar to a guacamole, but the difference is that it's going to have the cream cheese in it, and the cream cheese has a stronger base to it, so it's going to hold up a little bit stronger for what I would like for it to do than guacamole would, and so that's why we're using the cream cheese. And so we're going to add a little bit of cilantro.
Okay.
Just to give it some added flavor. We don't want too much because cilantro is pretty potent. And then the other thing that I forgot that we're going to add too is we're going to add a jalapeno.
Okay.
And so I know you're a guy that likes really hot stuff, Carl.
Yeah,
so,
that's probably not going to happen.
so just for you, you know, I'll take the seeds out.
Yeah, take that jalapeno out if you don't mind as well too. So.
It's not going to be that bad, Carl, I promise. I'm going to do Olive Indian Country a favor. The secret from keeping your guacamole browned: acid. All right, let's mix this bad boy up.
So you're adding cream cheese into the mixture right now, and that is weird, but okay.
There we go. Okay, and so we're gonna prep these lobsters. Take a scissor, cut it right down the edge. There's not a lot of shellfish that are in our traditional cuisines, and so we're gonna prep these guys. And I got gloves on because taking these shells off, they're pretty sharp.
Don't you leave them in there? There's like
Yeah,
Red Lobster does, right?
No, you take the shell off, or at least for what we're trying to do today, we're gonna take the shell off. And we're gonna leave the tail on because the tail's gonna provide a bit of presentation. Make sure these guys are nice and clean, nice and good looking. And what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to cut these in half one more time.
Okay.
Long way. And so I promise I'll clean my cutting board before I put any more fresh vegetables on there. And so we're going to cut it like this.
Ooh, smelling like Red Lobster now.
Sweet.
I can smell Red
sweet,
Lobster.
Sweet, sweet. It smells good. It smells good.
This video is not sponsored by Red Lobster.
But if you want to sponsor us, Red Lobster, hit us up.
Oh yeah. Go ahead and hit us up, Red Lobster.
And so what we're actually going to do is that we're going to make a butter sauce.
Okay.
A butter sauce for the seafood.
Uh-huh.
And so what the butter sauce does is not only does it add the additional butter flavor to the seafood, but it also helps to just kind of keeps a little bit of moisture in it.
Okay.
And so the next thing that we're going to do is that we're going to put our lobster tails in the oven. And so I just got a small, I don't know what you call these, glass pans. And we're going to just spray it down just so that, you know, the cooking, that the tails will be easy to pop off. And actually what we're going to do is we're going to take each tail, and I have not done this in forever, so we're going to see how this works. But we're actually going to fashion them in these little dollop type things, and so that's for the purpose of presentation. We're going to season it a little bit. Salt. Ground pepper. And then we're going to use this beautiful butter sauce that we made. We're going to ladle this just on top of everything. And then we're going to pop these in the oven for about 7 to 8 minutes. The oven's at 350. And so the lobster tails have probably been in there for about a good 6 to 7 minutes. And so you can look at that. They're probably finished, and so they look beautiful to me. And so we're going to get them out of there. We're going to let them sit for a bit.
They don't look Red Lobster style.
They don't look Red Lobster style, but you can see that it kept its shape. So then the next thing we're going to do is we're going to do the Frybread.
All right, Frybread time.
Frybread time. And so because we're going to do something a little bit smaller of a dish compared to what people think of when they think of Frybread, so these Frybread, the Frybread that I'm going to make is going to be actually a little bit smaller compared to
traditional style
Frybread. And yes, ladies, I'm sorry, I do use a rolling pin, which I know is taboo for a lot of people, so we're just going to do a couple of these.
So traditional Frybread is about good
the size of my head.
It's about good 12 inches, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
And it's usually eaten with like beans on the side or
some sort of meat.
Or some sort of meat. And it's usually eaten as a traditional dish called the Indian taco.
I thought you were going to say the mutton sandwich.
The mutton sandwich, that too.
And so I'm just going to use the pin for it to get its shape off to the hot oil. And so this is an argument I have with people, because I know that when the ladies out here on the reservation, when they put their dough into the oil, they always put the dough so that it splashes towards them. In this battle of trying to keep the grease from getting to you, that kind of defeats the purpose. I always tell people that you actually put the dough in away from you so that when it splashes that the...
So by this time, J-Man has finished up with all of the mixtures and stuff like that. He's created the mousse that he's going to be plating. All the lobster tail right now is cooked. I can smell it. It smells really, really good. And so now in front of me, if you could just go ahead and zoom out a little bit, he's going to start plating this dish for me. I don't know if you want me to bring the dish over here?
No. It's fine right where you're at.
Oh, okay. We're gonna go ahead. If you want to zoom out towards me, we're gonna actually use the tweezers. You know, the tweezers now. We're gonna be using the tweezers, and it's something that I never would imagine seeing somebody, especially with like a Native American man, use tweezers. So right now we have the butter sauce that's going to go over, I think going to go over something like that.
So we're going to plate, and we're going to actually take some of this butter sauce and just ladle it over one more time over one of these tails just to give it some nice shine. We're going to do that, and then we're actually going to drop some parsley on top of that.
Okay.
Just a little aesthetics for that. And then for the fry bread itself, we're going to assemble the taco. And so normally, you kind of give this thing a little bit time to harden, but we didn't have that ability there. So you have a little bit of the avocado mousse.
All right.
And then the tweezers come into play. Is that the tomatoes that we marinated.
Yeah.
We'll take a couple of those out.
And the tomatoes smell really fantastic.
And so these were marinated in oil, garlic, shallots, a little bit of thyme and rosemary, and so those are just going to get plated around. And then the fry bread is warm too, so
it smells really good right now. I can tell you that. You have the garlic in there. You have the butter. Is that garlic? No, Evo, right?
Evo.
Evo. How many more times can we just say Evo? So we have olive oil in there. We have garlic. We have shallots. And right now we're going to go ahead and plate this here.
Yeah, guys.
And
so there you have a fancy version of an Indian taco with avocado mousse, some marinated tomatoes, and a roasted lobster tail. And
we're going to go ahead and cut into all of that, and we're going to see how well, you know, this whole dish is going to taste, because I never see that mixture of avocado and cream cheese is like an option in my book, actually, I would say. So we're going to go ahead and just get some of the tomatoes here, and then we're going to get some of this stuff here, and then we're going to get some of the lobster meat in here. And if I can fit this all in my mouth, if I can fit this all in my mouth, we'll see if this is.
It takes some skill to eat 5-star fried diamond.
I know, so. Right? All right, is that? Oh wow! I have the garlic in there that is really good, mixture of the butter sauce and the little bit of that jalapeno. You can taste a little bit of jalapeno. So yeah, and then you have the acidity, which is the
limes and the lemons.
Yeah, the limes and the lemons, which if eaten alone, it's weird. But when you put
everything together,
it has this subtle taste of like it's a seafood, but it tastes, you're tasting something different. I don't know how to describe the whole thing. So,
and then the fry bread's kind of just the vessel for all these yummy flavors to come together. And so in a way, the fry bread kind of shares the stage with some of these other ingredients, and so it's just another take on how to do a taco. I know a lot of you out there probably aren't calling this a taco, but
it's, I don't know what to call this, but I guess it is like a rendition of an Indian taco right now. Well, thank you so much for this dish, and I hope that you learned what needs to be done in order to cook something for yourself. don't go away because J-Man actually has a second dish in store for you. So don't go away. We're gonna go ahead and come back after break and we'll see you then.
Okay.
So welcome back, guys. Thank you for sticking around this far here. The first dish was really excellent. Thank you, J-Man, for that. And so we're gonna get ready for a second dish. You can go ahead and take it away.
I gotta redeem myself because of that. I know a lot of you res people are out there kind of rolling your eyes like, what the hell did he do to our Frybread, putting on that avocado mousse and the lobster tail? So I'm actually gonna create a reservation classic just to redeem myself and get my res points back. We're gonna make a mutton sandwich.
Mutton sandwich. So for those who don't know what a mutton sandwich is, it's just a sheep that's just been butchered and all the good meat has been just grilled on there, or however you want to prepare it. So it's just a sheep. It's like a little bit older sheep, but we're going to be using a lamb?
It's going to be lamb, yes.
It's going
to
be a
little
lamb.
Bit tender,
So it's going to be a little bit nicer. So get ready for that. We're going to go ahead and prepare for all of those.
And so this is kind of embarrassing, but I actually didn't know what went on a mutton sandwich, so I did a poll, because the mutton sandwich isn't something that I order when I go to the flea market or whatever as you get a burger. But so I had to kind of ask, and I had to ask my universe of friends through Instagram, what goes on a mutton sandwich? And one of the two unanimous ingredients was chili and corn. And so we're actually we're gonna throw these on the grill, and so the grill's nice and toasty, and so we're gonna throw these guys on. So now we're gonna prep the meat, which I know sounds kind of funny. And so the meat's already broken down. The meat's broken down already, but what we're gonna do is that we're gonna marinate it. And so, you know, I said that we're gonna make a classic mutton sandwich, but I'm not gonna do it in a classic flea market mutton sandwich way. And so some more eyes are probably gonna be rolling. And so we're just gonna get some shallots. We're gonna prep some shallots, and then we're gonna prep some garlic. And so shallots and garlic kind of go hand in hand in terms of flavors, and so it's two ingredients that you always kind of see going together when it comes to developing flavors. So we're just going to get this ready before we get the meat out, and then put it into the area that we need it to, into the container that we need to put it in. Very sticky garlic today, and so we got that ready. And then we're just going to do a few other things. We're going to do a little bit of thyme, We're going to do some peppercorns, and we're going to do a little bit of rosemary. And so we got mutton or lamb. I think it was a lamb because the sheep that I actually saw was a little bit smaller. And so this is the loin from the spine. And so that part of the meat is where you get things like rack of lamb. And so have you ever heard of something called rack of lamb? That's where that gets. And so Carl's in for a treat. This is a really good cut of the mutton meat. It's still got some of the fat on there, some of the silver skin. I left some of that on for the flavor. A lot of us native folks like, and I know that for the most part out here, we usually don't marinate our meats, right, Carl?
No, we never do.
We just kind of like, and I think that's the difference. And you know, I know that a lot of people out here really do like that actual real flavor of the mutton. They like the actual real flavor of if you're eating things like venison. And so, but the fact that we're adding in all these different flavors, the garlic, the shallots, and the herbs, it doesn't really disguise the flavor. It adds flavor, and then hopefully it'll bring some of that flavor out. And so what we're gonna do is that we're gonna put it in this plastic bag. We got the herbs in there, we got thyme, and I picked some rosemary. We actually have a rosemary bush growing outside. The garlic and the shallots. We're gonna do a little bit of canola oil. This is canola oil right here. And then we're going to seal it up, and there's actually one more thing that I'm gonna add. And so we're just gonna do a little bit of peppercorns. Just a little bit of peppercorns just to give it some additional flavor. We're gonna massage some of that oil in just to make sure that the oil's nice all the way through the meat. And then so we're gonna have that nice and oiled up, and we're just gonna seal it. We're just gonna seal it. A good marinade probably takes up to maybe 2 hours to an hour to really get some sort of enhancement into what it is that you're wanting to transfer some of that flavors to. So we're just gonna let that sit there for about an hour or two. But fortunately, I have some meat that's already marinated, so that's what we're gonna use today to complete this dish. So we took the corn off the grill, And so we're gonna do something different with this than how it's traditionally served. And so we got the roasted chili, the chili's roasted. That's all good to go. What I'm actually gonna do is that I'm gonna combine these two together and I'm gonna add some shallots to it. So this thing's probably still pretty hot, so if you hear me kind of doing the little
the hot fandango dance.
the hot fandango dance. And so we're just gonna break this. So nothing too fancy because you still kind of want to have some integrity of the grilled chili. And so, but when if you've never had a mutton sandwich before, that okay, try to get that guy off. That the chili is actually whole. The chili is actually whole, and so we're just gonna do a little bit different. I'm actually gonna take the corn off the cob. And so this corn was roasted too on the grill. And I'm going to take it off the cob because I'm actually going to make something similar to a succotash, if people out there know what a succotash is.
It's what Sylvester the cat says all the time.
Succotash.
For those who are millennials and a little bit older. So all you new guys, you go look it up, succotash.
Succotash. And so I think that the concept, at least for me in constructing the dish this way, is that because when you take a bite into a sandwich, really you're trying to get as much of all of the ingredients that are within the sandwich to make it pop out. And so when you have a whole corn cob or where you have a whole chili like this, that it's kind of difficult to get all of the components of the dish in there. So I'm just going to do this up just to get a little bit more. And so the other component that I'm going to add to this is I'm going to add shallots. And so like we talked about shallots when we were constructing the lobster dish, that the shallots kind of act almost as like an onion flavored component. And so that's just going to give this a little bit more of onion flavor, because I did have some people on my Instagram story say that, you know, that they do like their mutton sandwiches with onions. Get that pan going, get it nice and hot. Then we'll go ahead and cut some of these shallots up so that we can get that working. And I've never done this before, so we're just gonna be praying for miracles and just, you know, like anything else in life, just hope that it all turns out well.
Pray to your woot ya hard.
Woot ya hard. And so we're gonna put some canola oil in there. Wait for the pan to get nice and hot. So you mentioned before that really does help with the cooking process and make sure nothing else is getting burned with that. So the pan's nice and hot. We're gonna drop our shallots in first. And so dropping the shallots in, we'll be able to release some of that flavor of the shallots. Smell that, Carl?
Oh yeah.
What does that smell like?
That smells really good.
Oniony, right?
Onions.
Kind of got some onion to that. Pan's pretty hot, so that's gonna cook quick. Now we got that going, then we'll add everything else. Probably don't need as much corn. So that's going. It's like everything else in life. Seasoning, what's life without some seasonings? Salt, fresh ground black pepper. Let that guy work. And so we're gonna do that. And then the other thing that I want it to do, just to kind of enhance the flavors just a little bit, is that little hush hush that, you know, because we're on a dry reservation. But we're actually gonna add some red wine. We're gonna add some red wine. Let this deglaze in there.
You mean cooking wine?
Some cooking wine.
There you go.
And if you're wanting to follow this recipe to a T, that the alcohol does cook out, and so you won't be getting buzz from this. Then the last thing that we're going to do to add to it, just to find out, some butter. And one of the things that we always do is that we taste, just to ensure that things are the way that you want it. So I'm just going to taste a little bit of this and just make sure that it's going to be up to par for what we're trying to do. And so the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to do the meat. And so we had this marinating. Actually did this this morning, and so this one's been marinating for a few hours. And so really all of the herbs and the garlic, they all did its job. And so we're going to try to pick that stuff off, and don't really need that right now.
So far that J-Man has taken off the meat from the grill, and it smells fantastic. It smells pretty good. And now he's going to go ahead and create some sort of sauce that's going to be, I guess it's supposed to be, I don't know what it's supposed to be, but it's supposed to be some sort of sauce, and I don't know what's going to happen. So we're going to go ahead and take a quick break, and we'll be right back.
Okay, and so we're going to make a sauce that I've never made before in my entire life. And so when it comes to sandwiches, the colonized cook in me always wants to have some sort of sauce. And so what we're going to do is we're going to make a sauce for the sandwich. And so we got some plain yogurt. We're just going to take a little bit of this. And so this is going to help to kind of retain that moisture that's in there.
Right.
And then we're going to take a little bit of mint. So we do a little chiffonade in the mint, just a little bit of it. We need a whole lot, just a tiny bit to that. A little bit of salt, some pepper, and then we'll wish for the best and see how this turns out.
So right now we had our first meal with J-Man, and the lobster tail was pretty good, I must admit. So now he's gonna go ahead and plate me some sort of mutton sandwich.
You're gonna give my plate back.
Oh yeah.
So I can plate this.
All right, go ahead and assemble away.
And so as we all know that the basis of any true mutton sandwich is the Frybread.
Okay.
And so, but what we're gonna do a little bit different, and I'm hoping that the yogurt holds up on this, is that because this is very warm, that let's do some of the sauce first.
All right.
We'll do some of the sauce, and this is that yogurt sauce that we made. And this might get a little runny
because of the warm
the
Frybread.
very hot Frybread. And then we're going to do the meat.
Okay.
We're gonna do the meat. We got that nice grilled mutton or lamb. See that beautiful color on there.
Oh yeah, it smells really good.
And then so, just a little extra piece for Carl. He said he was very hungry today. And then we're gonna finish it off with our vegetable concoction that has the roasted corn, roasted chilies, and then we added some shallots to this, and so that's gonna go right on top.
So it is a little hot right now, so I actually, you smell it, the chilies are really good. I can smell the chilies, I can smell the corn, all of it smells really good right off the grill. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and try the mutton sandwich here. I can pull out the meat.
Heavy loin there.
Mm-hmm.
That's probably all fat. That's my fault.
You know what? Let me try this piece here. Let me try this.
Sorry.
Let me try that piece here. All right, exclude the last two things here. Well, go ahead. I was wrong. Actually, some of the meat is pretty good. When you're buying lamb, make sure that you marinate it and make sure that you're pounding it out. Actually, the lamb is pretty good. I can tell you that. The chilies are good. I love the chilies. I love the tzatziki sauce. It adds a little bit more flavor, adds a little bit more zing to it. So I love it. Thank you again. It's really messy.
You won't get this type of sandwich at the flea market.
No. All right. Well, thank you again for creating these dishes for me. And we're going to go ahead and shoot it right back to the studio here. We'll see you then. Welcome back, guys. Thank you for joining us again. We're back here in the studio, and it was actually a really good meal that you cooked. I must say that it was kind of unorthodox or sort of like sacrilegious when you think about it.
It was heresy. It was probably heresy for a lot of people out there.
I love lobster tail. I love that. I love the lobster and stuff like that. And I love Red Lobster. It's just, and And the way that you cooked it, it was good. I must admit it was pretty good. And the mutton sandwich was okay. I must say it's okay. It's not where it's what you call it, the
It's not flea market quality.
It's not flea market quality.
It's not flea market quality because it's a little bit.
So thank you again, guys, for watching us be these guys with Jeff with J-Man's cooking show here. So everything that you want is in the links below. We have our past episodes that if you guys want to listen to, and we'll put another link down here if you want to look at our past cooking episode. So go ahead and do that. Make sure you like and subscribe. Make sure you hit that bell notification for more episodes that we'll be recording and stuff like that. So thank you again, guys.
Thank you.
All right.